Talovalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Swiswiki. Coming up.
Today's the day we unite to demand dignity for our people.
A petition calling for fair treatment of Pacific visitors goes to New Zealand Parliament. Also, Solomon's Prime Minister says no foreign influence behind latest cabinet reshuffle. And
it means the world to me. Moana, they gave me the chance back in 2022 when I was really a nobody.
Moana Pasifika celebrates its most capped player. Can you guess who it is? New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters says he's committed to helping Pacific nationals get easier access to New Zealand. Former National MP Anai Arthur Anai presented a petition to Mr Peters on the steps of Parliament on Wednesday, calling for Pacific people to be allowed short-term visa on arrival in Aotearoa. Suana Ahulele has the story.
Hundreds of Pacific Islanders gathered on the grounds of Parliament this morning, praying for justice. Former National MP Anai Arthur Anai and his supporters travelled down by motorcade from Auckland to deliver a petition to Honourable Winston Peters with more than 45,000 signatures. It calls on the New Zealand government to grant Pacific nationals visas on arrival. In a passionate speech to the crowd before handing the petition to Winston Peters, Anai said Pacific Islanders have been mistreated by New Zealand immigration for far too long.
42 years we waited for justice, and successive governments led by National and Labour ignored us. Today he will receive our petition that calls for New Zealand immigration to respect the peoples of the Pacific by treating us with respect, dignity, equality, as they do 3.2 billion people from other countries around the world.
Representatives of Pacific communities from all around Aotearoa turned up to support Anai at Parliament. Among the supporters from Auckland was Tuvaluan Romi, who was part of the Pacific Justice Group, standing together holding up their sign.
Today's the day we unite to demand dignity for our people, a moment for equality to arrive, for Pacific justice. Now, please.
Polynesian Panther Dr. Malani Anai, also travelled down from Auckland, was among the supporters. She says it was good to be a united front for the cause.
Fighting another battle that needs to be fought, and I'm just so proud that people are uniting and standing up like we did in the 1970s and just stop this, our people from hurting. There's enough hurt to go around without racist policies and laws.
Anai handed the petition over to Honourable Winston Peters, supported by cheers from the crowd. Referring to the Pacific Islanders as cousins, Peters agreed that New Zealand's immigration system needs to be more empathetic.
And I honestly believe we can get a system going that's far, far more responsive to people's needs. When someone is dying, you haven't got days and weeks. You've got hours to make your plans. And we should be facilitating that. And for heaven's sake, it's difficult for us sitting here, many of us members of Parliament, scratching our head and thinking, how did it get this bad for so long?
The Green Party's Pacific People's spokesperson, Te Anau Tuiono, says the Minister of Immigration needs to be clear on the criteria and processes.
I think there needs to be some hard questions asked of the Minister for Immigration about what her response to this is. Is the issue around process? Is the issue around workload or whatever? But she needs to be a lot clearer about that, so we know what the blocks are.
New Zealand's Minister for Immigration, Erica Stanford, says the petition is not a priority for the government, but they will consider it once it goes to Select Committee. However, she rejects any narrative that Pacific Islanders struggle to get visas to visit New Zealand.
Well, of course they can. I mean, currently our visitor visa processing time is 8 days for the Pacific, and if they have an emergency, then there is an escalation process, and we do those far more quickly. So there are already things in place. We do a very, very good job in immigration. Of course, there's anecdotal stories, but overall we do an exceptionally good job for our Pacific neighbours.
Anai says they will keep fighting for justice for the Pacific communities to gain visas on arrival.
Today is a day of history. Today is the first time the people of the Pacific have come together as one to tell this government We're not going to accept this treatment anymore. We want justice, we want equality, we want respect, and we demand it now.
Speaking to reporters after receiving Anai's petition, Winston Peters says they will do their best to try and convince coalition partners to consider it before the election in November.
Solomon Islands Prime Minister Jeremiah Manele has reshuffled his cabinet, citing better coalition party representation and service delivery as reasons for the change. Koroi Hawkins has more.
Polika Paea and John Tuhaika Jr. were axed from the traditional governance and environment portfolios. They were replaced by Stephen Kumi and Wayne Gemu, while Roland Seleso has been given the provincial government portfolio. Speaking to local media after the new ministers were sworn in on Tuesday, Mr. Manele said the changes would strengthen the government's work this year.
Basically, to reflect a fair and balanced representation in the distribution of cabinet portfolios within the coalition government, between the parties that are there.
Jeremiah Manele denied there was any foreign influence behind his decision to sack the two former ministers.
Absolutely nothing. There are no external forces. It's basically a cabinet realignment to reflect our commitment, including the full implementation of the government budget. And as I've said, to ensure that there is a fair and balanced representation in cabinet among the two main parties.
Mr. Manele has had two motions of no confidence filed against his leadership, both of which were withdrawn on the floor of Parliament. He was adamant this latest reshuffle is not a sign of further instability, saying the two sacked ministers will remain on the government benches.
Government is very stable. Stability is demonstrated every day in Parliament, on the floor of Parliament. But on this occasion, let me also take the opportunity to sincerely thank the two ministers that have been relieved. They continue to be members of the cabinet caucus. They will continue to contribute in policy making. I even intend, and I've been talking with them already, to appoint them as chair of a number of cabinet subcommittees.
But the opposition leader Matthew Wale has expressed concern that both sacked ministers were from Solomon Islands Polynesian communities. He says diversity is the country's strength and it's important that different communities feel represented at the highest levels of decision-making. Jeremiah Manele says there will be no further ministerial changes at this time.
Not at this particular stage. As I've said, the changes that we have made were done after consultations with party wing leaders and a number of MPs within government. And again, it shows our commitment in terms of implementing government policy and priorities. My interest is the national interest, so that the government continues to deliver on goods and services for our people and for our country.
Moana Pasifika's William Havili is set to become the team's first player to appear in 50 matches when they go head-to-head against the Fijian drawer this Saturday. The Tongan Kiwi plays outside back, defending the team's backline. Tiana Hexton has more.
William Havili is one of the OGs, having played with Moana Pasifika since the club's founding season in 2022. The 27-year-old says becoming the team's most capped player is a huge achievement.
It means the world to me. Moana, they gave me the chance back in 2022 when I was really a nobody, and then they've let me thrive and able to grow my game, so appreciate everything this organisation's done for me.
Born and raised in Motueka, Havili captained the Nelson College First 15. He made his debut with the Tasman Mako in 2018 before signing with Moana Pasifika in 2022. Havili says having a Pacific-focused team in Super Rugby is unique, and he hopes it will encourage aspiring players across the region.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It builds not only Moana but also the national teams, and then it just gives them a bit of hope if they work hard and they want to leave Tonga and obviously do this as a professional career. They can just look no further than Miracle, and then we've got a couple of boys in here this year that are from Tonga as well, and they're doing really good things as well.
Head coach Fa'alongotana Umanga says it is commendable that Havili has stuck with the team for so long, especially in the early years when Moana Pasifika was still establishing its footing. He says Havili has stayed through all the trials and tribulations and now gets to witness the fruit of all his hard work.
Willie getting 50 is a massive achievement. He's a guy that you can rely on through thick and thin. He's obviously an integral part of our team. I was lucky enough to be involved with him when he was in his early stages, and just seeing the development and the growth of him being in a professional environment. And, you know, like without Moana, he might never have got that opportunity.
He says his achievements show the value in what Moana Pasifika can offer aspiring players.
You know, him connecting with Tonga as well to keep growing that. It just showcases for us the benefits of what Moana can do with, you know, players that are seen on the outskirts, bring them in here, and then all of a sudden they're part of the new wave of us moving forward.
Havili agrees, saying the team opens their doors to those who may not get such opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Like Miracle, when he came in 2023, straight from the islands, gives the boys hope from over there in Samoa and Tonga, and also Fiji as well with the Drua. So it's a real good pathway, and especially people that have been overlooked and not really had the opportunity, they get an opportunity and they really thrive.
Havili says getting a win against the Fijian Drua this weekend would be the perfect way to celebrate his 50th match. Umanga is expecting a challenge, but says the team is ready.
Oh, we're ready as we'll ever be. You know, we're preparing for a long time for this, and exciting occasion, you know, for us. Super Rugby Pacific, the two Pacific teams that represent the Pacific, going to battle in Fiji and the Pacific. So I think it's a big occasion, and yeah, we've trained well. I was very happy with the way the training's going, and that's all we can take our confidence from, and so we can go in with confidence.
The Super Rugby Pacific season kicks off this weekend with the Highlanders taking on the Crusaders in Dunedin, while across the ditch, the Waratahs will face the Reds in Sydney. Moana Pasifika's first game is against the Fijian Drua on Saturday in Lautoka, Fiji. Kick-off is at 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā, soifua.